How's everybody doing? Thanks for tuning in to my YouTube channel. Today what I'm going to show you is how to switch doors in your house. Interior doors, just like this. This is a 6-panel white door. It does not have pre-hung hinges. It does come with a pre-drilled knob hole. Now I'm going to be switching out my old flat panel doors for these brand new ones. It's about time. And now what I wanted to tell you guys is that I haven't found a YouTube video that just specifies exact tools you need and a step-by-step on how to go about doing this. So this is what I'm going to do for you guys. Instead of paying $200 to go to Lowe's and have someone pre-hang your doors, especially you have to pay $35 to have somebody come out, measure your doors, then after that they charge you $150 for each door. Now, it might be necessary for someone to come out and do that depending on the size of the framing that you have, because you might have custom sized doors, but usually doors run 80 millimeters up from the top to bottom, and the width here varies from 28 to 30 to 24. So you have to measure it out. Go to your local Lowe's or Home Depot and see what they have available depending on your measurements, and go from there. But also, if it's a little larger door, you could always sand them down. I'm going to show you how to do that too, because I'm not sure if I'm going to need to sand this one down. I just did a quick measurement on here, and it seemed pretty good. Now let me show you what I'm going to do first. So basically, you take off the first door, you take it right off the hinges, okay? And then what I did with this door was, one of the ways that I learned how to kind of measure it out, you kind of just take the new door and press it up the interior of where the old door went, just to see how it fits. This will give you a better idea on what you might need to take off come around as soon as you put in your hinges. So as you can see at the top, it's a little tight at the top, so I might have to take it off. I might have to sand down a little bit, but overall, the door fits pretty well, as you can see. So let's go ahead and show you how to trace out where the hinges go, as well as how to use a router, and what are some of the tools that I'm currently using to hang my own doors. All right, guys, so now we're in the my little workshop here. So I'm going to show you some of the tools that I'm actually using right now to do this. One of the main tools for the hinges is this little guy right here. This is the Ryobi template, and what this does is this is specifically for hinges. So you're going to determine which side your hinges go and how they go. But basically all that happens is you kind of put this on this way, or whichever obviously way it is best for your door. As you can see, this little piece actually moves depending on the size of your hinge. So my hinge is a 3.5. So I have it placed on here, and this actually creates a complete template for the round hinge. As you can see, I've been practicing, and I suggest you practicing prior to doing anything on an old door or a piece of wood. So what happens is this actually gets clamped on here just to stay still, and then what I'll do is, I'll then use a router, and this is the Ryobi router. As you can see, so this thing gets flipped around. This is the, I guess it's a little tool that basically will slice up the wood. It'll cut it all up and shave all throughout the inside of this, depending on the measurement that I've adjusted this to. And how we're going to determine that is by taking, for example, a brand new hinge. As you can see there, I'm using those. We're going to take a brand new hinge. After determining the size, I'm going to make sure that the new hinge flushes with the old door. Okay, so that's how you determine that it's flush. Now this is the actual old door on where I just showed you guys where we were before, and that's the hinge. So I'm going to take that off, but prior to that, before taking that off, I'm actually going to measure out on the new door that I'm going to be putting up exactly where to place these on the new door, and then we'll go from there. But I want to show you one more tool. So if the door doesn't quite fit into the framing, I use this Skill sander. It's a belt sander, as you can see, and this provides the best and smoothest way to actually go across the entire panel, or wherever it needs smoothing. It's either this way or of course this way. So it all depends on what you're looking for. So let me go to the next segment and show you guys how I line up the doors to mark exactly where the hinges go. Alright, so I have the two doors lined up. As you can see, the old door and the new door. Make sure that they line up correctly. Also, make sure that they're flush down this way, because you want to make sure that you have the exact length on where the hinges will go. So as you can see, I have the two hinges set up and they're lined up. Now I do see that this is a little higher than this one. That shouldn't be much of an issue, especially if we're going to be sanding it down a little bit. But that'll be determined because there was a little bit of spacing in there. So to measure up the hinges, this is what I do. I take the old hinges and I kind of just line up the new hinge right simultaneously with the old ones. And what I'll do is I'll make little markings just to make sure that everything's lined up. And when I'm ready, I will go ahead and show you how I'm going to route this area right here. And we'll dig up the exact hole here. You see how flush that is right there? This is what we're looking to do on this door. Let's show you that. All right, so here's the old hinge depth. Okay, I went ahead and I'm going to use the old door just as a template, just to see how the router, how deep it goes, because it's a tricky thing. You got to just get the right size because you don't want to ruin your door. So here I have attached the Ryobi template, and let me give you a close-up of how I'm going to use the router. Alright, so the router's plugged in. As you can see, I got my template on. As you can see, the template is all this. So we're going to be taking this out on the depth approximate to what the router is. So here we go. So the router just goes right on top of here, and as soon as you hit the go button, it just goes. So here we go. Alright, so as you can see, what we did was we cleared that entire area out. So let me unclamp this. As I unclamp this, we will determine if the hinge is the exact depth that we need. Hinge. It's almost perfect. But you know what? On the next one, I'd like to raise it up a little bit. As you can see right here, let me actually zoom in if I can. There you go. You see that little bit? That little bit can really change the hanging of the door. You want it to be completely flush, like we have. See, what we want is for it to be just flush like that. See how flush that is? That's exactly how we want it to be. So let's try again. All right, guys. So I've actually been working away while you've been on hold. And as you can see, look how many times I've had to drill until I had to route until I came up with just the perfect one. And it's all about trial and error, honestly. As you can see, let me give you a close-up of this one. Look at that. Just a little high. Little high. So almost good, but actually that one didn't work well. But the latest one, here's where I stopped. Look at that. Perfect flush. Just right. Real smooth, just right. So now that I have the correct dimension of the router, I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys. All right, so we left that I showed you how that one door looked with the flush hinge pocket, and I'm gonna put the template on this door, and I'll be right back and I'll show you how they flush out and how they look. All right, so here we are. Two really nice flush hinge pockets. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put each hinge on here, and you got to make sure that before drilling in, okay, so when you put this in and you want to secure this to the door, what you want to make sure that you do is drill some pilot holes first, okay, because that will allow you not to basically go sideways when you try to put it in. That's what I've learned from the screws going sideways. Again, I'm far from a professional, but I've done this and I just want to pass on my knowledge. Pretty simple, and doesn't cost that much for trial and error. All right, so I don't know if you guys can see, but what I did was I actually just put the hinge over this, and I took a regular nail or a screw, and I just marked a couple places. So what you want to do is you want to make pilot holes, and that'll prevent cracking, that'll prevent the screws from going sideways. So all you do is, you put a drill. I use a drill, put your bit in there, and then just drill some light pilot holes. Okay. And what they'll do is this will allow the screws, once you're screwing it in, to just go in smoothly, because they'll be already in place and they'll know how to be guided. It's basically a guide for the screws. That's just something I picked up from hearing other people do it. All right, so I have I drilled it. Now I got this thing laying here. So what I'm gonna do is, it's actually, I've been told, and from what I've seen, the best way to do it is by hand, just so you don't strip. See how easy it goes in? Hopefully the camera's catching how easy. Now I'm not gonna tighten them all right away, but the first door I ever did, I used the drill right on the plate, and it was a disaster because the door starts to splint and it starts to go sideways, and you know what happens then? Nothing good. So as you can see, this does take time. This takes time and some dedication, some tools, some sweat, some dirt. But if you're a do-it-yourself kind of person and you want to try this out, save some money, and also every time you walk by that door, you say, "Hey, I did that door." This way you can tell your wife that every single time she walks by that door, you can let her know that you put that up, which is probably the most important thing here. And there you are. Look at that. Perfectly flush hinge. I'll give you a close-up of that. Look at that. And I'm going to do the next one, and then we'll go ahead inside and go from there. Alright, so I went ahead and took the second parts of the hinges and added them to the frames. So these are nice and flush here. Okay, let me give you guys a close-up of that. Show you exactly what I'm talking about.
So, this is the second part of the hinge.
And this one. Alright, so right now I'm going to go ahead and try to hang that door. Alright guys, so I didn't know if you guys are going to be getting a chance to see me sand this door down, but let me actually zoom out if I can, but I can't. As you can see, door fits perfectly well. Good clearance at the bottom. Okay, just right. Good clearance at the top, except, as I knew, right up top here, we're gonna have to trim that down, as well as we're gonna have to trim down a little bit throughout the side here. This door was just a little bit too big, but that's really no problem. We could certainly trim that down a little bit, sand that down, just the right amount, so it slides right in. Alright, so make sure you got your eye gear on, and you know what we're sanding. We're going to be sanding down straight down this way. It was pretty good down here, but not so good all throughout here and down this way. So I'm using my skilled sander, and you might have to come back in and out of the house a couple of times just to make sure that it's just the right fit. So let me start, and I'll be right back with you guys. Alright guys, so I finally finished up with the door. And now, as you can see, the new door's on, and it looks pretty awesome. It even opens and closes. See, I had to trim down a lot all throughout here and at the top for it to fit well. But you know, it takes some time to really get it to that perfect fit, and it takes a lot of sanding. I was in and out of the house probably about 5 times, sanding it down, putting it on the hinge, just to see where it was at. But as you can see, the old door is gone, the new door is here. So let me recap what we did. We took off the door, measured out the hinges compared to the new door. Then we used the Ryobi template. I used a router on that. And that takes a little bit of time just to make sure you get that flush hinge pocket so that it matches exactly to what you had before, because the slightest little bit really takes you off. But here you go. This is the finished product. Thank you guys for watching.